Okay, in our last little tutorial, we created our little genie. We gave him movement, and we also made him move across a platform. We had some collectibles, and we basically had an event that if he fell off the edge of the world, then he'd restart. Okay, so we did quite a lot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to advance this a little bit further. We're going to look at different methods to, we're going to change the controlling of this genie because it's not as smooth as we would like it, and we're going to look at creating this world into a bigger world and adding more platforms in as well. Okay, so let's get started with this. What I've done, I've opened my room, and this is in my room now at the moment, and I'm just going to click on the settings, and I'm going to change the width and the height of the room. So the width at the moment is 640, we're going to make that a little bit bigger, we can make that to 700, and we're going to make the height a little bit bigger, we'll make that up to say 1000. Now you'll notice straight away what's happened is it's added stuff to the bottom, and not much to the top. Now the issue you do have with this is I'm not aware of any way that I can select all and just move it all down. So if you do decide to create or edit your current world that you're in, then obviously bear in mind that when you go to do something like that, it's going to essentially mean a little bit of heartache for you, because you're going to have to either delete all of this, move it down, or do something with it. Okay, so what I am going to plan to do in here, I'm going to add another platform, and we're going to make a platform on the top, and then we're going to actually make a platform on the bottom as well. Okay, so let's get going with this. So I'm going to go back to my objects, I'm going to change to the wall, and we're going to add in a option here. Look, I'm going to add in one square there, one square there, one square there, and we're going to add in another one up here, say, just as an example. Maybe I'll do another one here, so the genie's got somewhere to sort of jump onto. Maybe I may have to take that one away. We'll see. We'll see. And I'm going to add in. I'm going to hold my shift key down and add in a few there. What I have noticed this is if you go the opposite way, you can see it's not doing something right with my blocks. So you always have to go, if you're going to put multiple blocks on, you always have to go from the left to the right when you're doing this. Okay, oh gosh, I'm messing these up today well and truly. Okay, right, let's add one or two more things down here. So again, I've just gone and ignored my own advice. And let's put one or two things up here. In fact, hopefully I'm going to do one or two mistakes now, so as we're going through this we can basically see then how we are going to solve some of these issues. So I'm going to put one or two coins around here, so we're adding in a value. Now notice all I'm doing, I'm putting the coin object on, so that essentially I'm away to go. Now you might need to put you may need to be careful, right? Especially with this up here, there may be one or two issues with this program. We'll see now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play this, and let's see what it'll do. Now I haven't put anything on lower down yet, so obviously this is going to be fairly straightforward, I hope. Okay, so the first thing that you might have noticed is this now has basically just made a massive screen. Right, I'm quite lucky because I've got a rather large monitor here. My laptop's a 1080p screen, so everything does fit on. But if you were on a smaller screen, then it might not. Let me just show you. If I change the views, let's go up to sorry, not views. Let's have a look. Settings. Oop. If we set the height to say 1300, just as an example, then what's going to happen is, okay, the space has increased, so you can see I've got more usable space here, and the bar here has gone definitely smaller, but when it renders, what it's done, look, is it's basically squished the game into the usable space here. So this isn't exactly great for us. So I use an Alt F4 just to get out of that. What we need to do is we need to do something called a view. So I need to enable a view here, and this basically will then object to follow. The object that I want to follow is the genie. Now you'll also need to set these here, the H bar and the V bar, right? For some reason, because I'm in high DPI mode, it's cut off the H and the V here. So what we need to do, I'm going to set this to 200. This is pixels. You could set it if you wanted to 640 by 480. It doesn't really matter. It's basically the area that this will follow, and this is the size of the room as well. So if you remember, the room previously has always been 640 pixels by 480 pixels. Now this is why it's important to test everything as we go. If you can imagine, if I just put everything in here without testing, then I could pretty much destroy my game and not know necessarily where I've gone wrong. Okay, so this now has been put back to 640 by 480, which is great. My score is still working, and let's see, look, as I'm going over with my genie, then more is coming into play. If I press the space, a little bit of an issue there with the space. Look, there isn't enough movement for me to get up onto the next level, right? So obviously that's something we're gonna have to sort of sort out. You might notice the genie's almost sort of sticking to the end as well. The reason for that is something called a mask, which we'll look at, probably the last thing we'll look at. But think of this like there's just basically a box around there. The computer just sees a box. Although we see a little genie, the computer just sees a little box around there, right? So we need to do a few things. We need to allow the vertical speed to be a little bit more generous, because obviously I'm not getting enough height to jump on here. And I don't know if you notice, when I move in my player, it's not the smoothest. So there's a few things we can do to improve that. So let's first look at the vertical speed. So I'm going to go back into my genie, and I'm going to go to space, and I'm going to look at my vertical speed. It's set at -25. Let's set it at -40. That should give us then a little bit more power when we're boosting, or when we're pressing the space bar, we hope. And that will allow us then to get up onto the higher levels as well. Now it may be the case that once you've done this, you need to edit your level, you need to go back and change this, because it may not even be attainable, you know, once you've given it a little bit more boost. So let's have a look. We come to the end there. Okay, so that is kind of enough. But you can see my vertical speed isn't great. Sorry, not my vertical, my horizontal speed. So as I'm moving, that seems to be enough. Maybe I need a little bit more. That's okay. But if I use my arrow keys and the space bar at the same time, it's not great. So if I press the space first, then that's fine. And then the arrow keys is really, really slow to come down. So I need to change something with this. Right, and you can see my gravity is a little bit now too slow. So there's a few things that I can do. So the first thing I'm going to do is set my gravity. I'm going to set the gravity a little bit higher. Okay, so it's going to fall down quick. Now previously, when I set my left and my right key, I used this option here to start moving in direction. But what we're going to do this time is we're going to remove that, and we're going to add in the horizontal and vertical speed. So obviously we're going left, so this time I'm going to do minus, I think it's 5 should be fine, we'll try. And in right, let's delete that one, we're going to do a +5. Okay, so let's click OK on that. Let's go for this. And we'll see now what actually happens with this next part. Okay, so as I'm pressing the space, look, that's much better. So the genie is still a little bit slow to come down. Whoop. And there is obviously a little bit of an issue. The gravity is quite forceful, so we're going to see that's fine. Now do I have enough space to get up over here, I wonder? Let's have a look. Nope. And we've gone. Okay, so there is a little bit of a problem. Now my gravity is probably a little bit too high for this, but for certain instances it does work very well. There are, so the gravity's there, boom, right. Okay, so can we get over to this end one here on the left hand side. I don't know, maybe we don't have enough. No. Okay, so maybe we need another block here, but I don't know if my genie's going to be too small to fit in here. We'll have to have a look. So let's add another block here. Let's go back to my objects. Let's add a block. We'll put a block up there, and potentially I'll put another block for here as well. So we've got a little bit of a stepping stone just to see if we can get up there. Okay, so let's have a look, see what we're doing. So lovely, that's come in, and what we're going to do is click on that. That's that. Now I'm not going to bother to collect the ones up there. Let's have a look. Great. So get that. Now then, a bit of an issue. We cannot get in here. Right. So this is something now that you need to basically try when you are obviously playing your game and you're looking at things. The width here is not big enough for my my genie, because I think off the top of my head it was set to about 70 pixels. Each one of these blocks is about 32, so if you think the space there is about 2 blocks, so that's 64 pixels. So we're trying to get an object which is 70 pixels into a space of 64. It's not going to happen. So again, this shows you the importance really of planning your rooms and trialing your rooms to make sure that you can actually achieve your goals. Now, as you've seen with this isn't difficult at all, and as I'm going through, I can basically try my game and see how we can get to the end. Now, the last thing that I'm going to do is we're going to set one more thing here before we go to the last level. So I'm just going to set that here now, and I'm going to just set another room. So this is going to be room 1, and I'm not going to put anything in this room for now apart from one coin and a wall, and I'm going to put my genie as well there. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to have some form of object here, so when the genie hits that, it's going to go on to the second room. That's relatively straightforward to do, and we're going to do that now. So the first thing we're going to do is create a sprite, SPR, we're just going to call this end for now, load sprite. Let's have a look. What should we use? We can use anything for this really, it doesn't really matter, but let's say for example we're going to use, let's put exit down. There we are, I like that one, and then we click OK. We're going to create an object called obj exit, and we're going to then set the exit sprite there. Now notice I've used a different name for my sprite and a different name for my object. That's absolutely fine. We're going to add an event so that when the genie hits this, what we want to do is we want to move it on to the next level, or next room rather, wherever my rooms have gone. I can't find them. Let's have a look. There it is. So we're going to go on to the next room, or we're going to go on to a specific room. So I'm going to go on to the next room for now. So transition effect, top. Now one thing I did read earlier was that the transition effects have been removed from GameMaker Studio 2. So if you're ever looking for this in the new version of GameMaker, it ain't there, folks. So there, well, that goes to game there, and what we can also do is we can add, I'll tell you what, we'll add a few points. I'll tell you what, wrong one. Let's go to score, points. So because they've gone on to the next level, we're going to add 100 points, and I'm going to do that first. So they add 100 points, go there, and if you wanted to, we could have a message coming up at some point. Well done, you have reached the next level. Okay, so again, this is quite important, the order that we want to do. So we want them to have 100 points, then we want them to go into the next, we want them to display the message, then go into the next thing there. So let's have a look. I've also got to put my object exit here. So we're going to put that there, and let's play that. Now there is maybe a little bit of an issue here. I don't know if this is going to work, because I can't remember how big the genie is, whether it's going to be big enough to slot through that one brick wall, because each one of these bricks is about 32 pixels. Okay, that's weird. So that's gone off. Okay. Now then, the reason it's doing that is it's going by these room orders. So obviously room 1 there is above room 0. So let's just sort that out for a moment. If I'm going to just drag that up a little bit. So if that's ever happened to you, just make sure that basically the way GameMaker works is it works in order here. So it starts off at whatever room's on top there. So somehow my room 1 was in front of my room 0. Let's just have a quick look. And lovely, good, we're back to normal. Right, okay, so I'm not going to bother collecting all the other collectibles now. Good, that was enough to go through. Whoop, lovely. And hopefully if we go to the exit, well done, you've reached the next level. Good, we've had 130 points. And the genie now has gone into the next level. Great. So that is basically how you would put in another level. And we've improved the maneuverability really of our genie, and we've made our genie look a little bit better as well, which is move better as well. Now in the next few videos, what we're going to look at probably doing is adding in something else to make the game look a bit better, maybe another background, or maybe change the background for an image which will move with the genie itself.